How are we doing, guys? Welcome back to the Barcelona. So the Republic of Ireland have drawn away at Georgia, 1-1. It's 2 points dropped for me. Nick, where do you start with that? That was really bad.
One of the worst performances I've seen in a few years. There's been pretty bad ones in the last few years, but that was particularly poor. I mean, I think a goal after 3 minutes is never positive when it's us. What should have happened there was we should have kept attacking, maybe gone for a second. We sat back in their final third. We made them look very good. I didn't think that was a good Georgia team.
No.
They didn't create. They looked very good on the ball, but what chances did they create? Did they test Randolph maybe once or twice in the first half from range? But apart from that, they weren't really up to much. We made them look really good. I think you can make, an under 12 local team look very good if you give them that much space. Really disappointing. Serious lack of leadership out there tonight. I think O'Neill, set us up for failure tonight, to be honest.
McLean said himself there at the end that he felt that when they scored, they sat back, which I just don't understand. Like, the back four dropped in to near their own penalty box, and then the midfield five, dropped just in front of them, and then Shane Long was completely by himself up front. What do you think of the substitutions? I personally thought he got them wrong.
Well, I think you have to bring McGeady on, and I know McGeady missed that chance. I think it was a tough chance. There was two guys coming in on him. He tried to hook it, it didn't quite work out, and he gave the ball away. But he drove. He was the only player on the pitch tonight for Ireland that actually had a go and actually took on players. I don't think we've anyone else. Maybe O'Dowda, but I don't think we've anyone else. Even McLean, I don't even think has that ability. Even a couple of clever little touches from McGeady, I thought that was fine. Houlihan should have come in for Murphy. I think Murphy is a bit of a battering ram. The main issue I had with the substitutions was that he was playing three wingers in midfield. I mean, McLean doesn't have the foot. I mean, look, I love McLean, but he doesn't have the footballing brain to play in centre mid. There was two balls through the middle on when he was in that central position, and he hooks it out to Christie instead of playing Walters through. So if you had someone like even Horahan, I know he hasn't played competitively, but if you had Houlihan even in there, they would have picked out that pass.
The BBC live text said it, if any of you have seen it, and after they took Arthur off and then after they took Whelan off, he says, I'm trying to figure out who's playing in centre midfield, and he names three people. Walters could be playing in midfield, Brady could be playing centre midfield. There was absolutely no there was no established centre midfielders, first of all, and then Murphy was kind of playing, I don't know what role Murphy was playing, and it wasn't his fault because he's a striker. And
he's under instruction now.
Yeah, he's instruction. You go on there, and just kind of McGeady played quite well when he came on, and he made us look. He was the only person that put his foot in the ball and drove forward, and he made the rest of them drive forward. But other than that, I struggle to think of a good performance. I thought Shane Duffy had a good.
Yeah, Duffy seemed to get ahead on everything, and I think he sliced one after a few minutes, but he got everything away. We've already established he's not the best on the ball. I think in modern football you have your kind of battering ram centre back, and then your more ball playing centre back. In our case we've two kind of battering rams, and I suppose Duffy is tasked with playing the ball out from the back, which he just can't do. Now I thought he was good. He took the goal well. Obviously question marks over. I know we saw on RTE's coverage anyway that Clark had an eye on the keeper, but look, the goal was given. I thought he headed everything away. I think the midfield was the main kind of culprit with defence.
I slated Shane Duffy last week during the week, saying I didn't. But I have to say he was our best player. James McLean got given man of the match. I don't know what for. I thought he had an alright game. Like, he wasn't the worst player on the pitch, but he wasn't the best player on the pitch.
This wouldn't go down too well, but I think McLean's almost becoming immune to criticism because he tries so hard. He gives it everything. He seems the nicest guy ever. Scored the goal against Austria, but he was poor today. I don't know where. Look, in fairness to him, the last 10-15 minutes he did drive forward. He can be a little bit reckless driving forward. I don't think he's the best ball control. He had an awful second touch for the chance. In fairness to him, look, he created the chance. He got in the position, but he made a hames of that. And I thought he was poor against Austria. I thought he was fantastic against Wales, but there were times he needed to pull back a little bit. And today there was three tackles he committed to, and it put us in serious danger. Thankfully, Georgia, although they look good tonight, they weren't good enough to take those chances. But he overcommitted to three challenges.
Now his booking was ridiculous before all of that, but he was putting himself in danger of getting sent off because he had been on a book.
He was, and there was one that particularly got to me. And again, like, I love McLean. I don't like slating him. I love getting behind the lads, and him especially. But there was one incident, I think, kind of maybe on the hour mark or so, or I don't know when it was, but the ball was loose in the middle of the park, and he literally just
went
booted it back towards Randolph and nearly went out for a corner. And sometimes I think he needs to just play with a bit of sense. You know, I've seen him play for West Brom, and he's, you know, he plays with a bit more control. I've no doubt he's, well, I don't know, I'm not in the dressing room with the Ireland lads, but I mean, I've no doubt that O'Neill just wants him to hoof the ball whenever he sees it, because he doesn't seem to play with control. I think he plays with a lot of heart, and as I said, the last 10-15 he did drive on, but giving a man the match, I mean, Duffy all day, if not one of the Georgians. You know, they were, as I said, they were made look very
without doing much. They did. They played some really nice stuff. Little passes. I mean,
they still have to keep the ball. Like another poor team or another lower ranked team would have knocked it long, even if Ireland were sitting back. But no, they played it around. They were nice to watch. But to be honest, as I said, you could sit back in your own half, and an under-12s team could pick you off like that. You know?
Brian, who we watched the match with, made the point that Shane Long actually had a decent game, and I think he did without doing anything, because he was so far away from the rest of everyone else was miles behind him.
And so he always is. You know,
he ran, he closed down people, he fought for the ball, but he was so isolated.
Yeah, the thing about Long is he's being used as your kind of modern day lone striker, and the modern day lone striker mightn't necessarily be prolific, but his job is to hold the ball up, is to flick it on, is to link it up. Long can't do that. Long does not have that ability. He gets up well, he does rise for a guy that's not even 6 foot. I think that's fantastic. But you know, for a guy like Long, who plays off the channels, who's got a lot of pace about him, you need 3 attacking players behind him. We play with the flat 5, which leaves him so isolated. I think the only players he can have in that long role are possibly Murphy or Walters. Long cannot play that long role. If you had, like, a lot of international teams, they have their 2 holding midfielders, and then ahead of them they've their 3 attackers who'll pretty much camp out in the opposition half. But for us, it's a flat 5. I mean, at times the wingers were slotting in between the fullbacks. So at one stage it was Christie, Walters, Duffy, Clark, McLean, and then Ward outside him. So the wingers were essentially acting as centre halves today. I just noticed that a few times, even in the first half. You know, in the 90th minute, that's fair enough, but I just found it so unusual. With a lot of international teams, that attacking 3, so the winger attacking midfielder, number 10, and the other winger should be, you know, linking in with the striker rather than isolating him and just acting as, you know, 3 extra defenders.
Yeah, I think let's just kind of get out of the mindset of we're all kind of a little bit annoyed about we're all a bit annoyed about
I'm extremely annoyed
about the performance and the results, etc. But in the grand scheme of the group, we're still in it. There's still good opportunities going forward,
of course,
but and I think another was they can't be any worse than they were today. Like, they can't be on Tuesday. If they play any worse on Tuesday against Serbia, we don't deserve to go to the World Cup.
No, well, I mean, if you look at the Austria game as well, and even if you take it back to the I know friendlies mightn't be the best thing to go on, but I think since the Welsh game, where we were missing a ton of players, that wasn't our best performance either. But you have to take into account that we were light. We didn't play well against Austria, and he more or less set us up the exact same way. Set us up negatively before the game had even kicked off. I would have loved to have seen Horan start tonight. I know he hasn't started a competitive game, but most countries are throwing players in for competitive debuts for their first cap, and we don't seem to do that. The guy's good from range. If we had a player that could shoot from range tonight, who knows what could have happened. Look at McGeady a couple of years ago, scoring from range, and you know, I think Horan's in form. He's confident. Whelan isn't playing well for Villa. he hasn't played well in this campaign at all. He gets defended so much. I've defended him so much, even in different articles I've defended Whelan. But I'm at the stage where I was watching him today and I thought, what is his role? I thought he was going to sit very, very deep tonight, literally in front of the back four. But at times he was leaving that position, leaving us very open. And I just don't know what his role is. I really don't know what his role is. And a lot of people defend him, but I can't see what they're defending him for anymore.
And no, I agree. I defend him. I used to defend him. We both did. And now I'm like, I don't even think it's not so much. There is better players now in his position who are younger and offer more, you know. And
yeah, I think
to be fair to him, he is 30 something. He's in his mid 30s.
Yeah, but the thing is, look, I don't like slating Whelan, and Roy Keane made such a good point midweek. He said, you see all these players getting knocks and they're pulling out, but Whelan seems to take care of himself. He seems to look after himself. His recovery, obviously, at club level, he must be doing the right things, and he always turns up.
Yeah.
But and this might be because I'm a bit annoyed at the moment or whatever it is, but there's a serious correlation between the last 10 years since Whelan has started playing for us and the blandness of the football we've had. If you look at the one of the first games that he was dropped in the last 10 years, or sorry, that he was out for in the last 10 years, was against Germany. We beat them. He was dropped against Bosnia for the second leg.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he was anyway.
Yeah, he maybe.
I'll double check that. I could eat my words, but we beat them.
Italy,
we beat them. You know,
Austria away.
He came off and we beat them. I think we are a better team without Glenn Whelan. I think Glenn Whelan has a role in the squad. If he comes in with 10 minutes to go, fresh, and we're leading, I think there's no better man in terms of, you know. I think he's got I think the best work he does is off the ball. He does restrict space, and you have to kind of watch it. Even if when you're at games, you can see it. You know, he does close the little pockets of space. As I said about number 10s, he restricts that space so much. He kind of man marks a lot of number 10s, and it might be something that a lot of people don't pick up. But at the moment, you know, you've got Meuler, who I'm not a huge fan of, but I think he's more mobile. I think he's a better range of passing. You know, I think he offers a bit more than Whelan. Hourihane, yeah. I mean, I think Hourihane is better maybe in a midfield three, maybe not in a holding position, but he does offer more. Arthur, I think if Arthur played more central rather than paired with Whelan, the same as McCarthy. I always think McCarthy plays his best games as the lone holding midfielder. Then you've got O'Kane, who can do a deep role and also a kind of almost like a Wes Houlihan role. So you know, you have options there. You know, I remember years ago Lee Carsley was kind of playing a lot under Staunton, and you know, there was a couple of midfielders coming through, and I remember thinking some of these guys can do what Carsley does except do more.
Yeah.
And I feel it's the exact same with Whelan. There's guys who can do his role and do more, and yes, he deserves praise, yes, he has 80 caps, but I'm getting to the stage where I'm thinking, from my point of view as one of his defenders, I'm kind of thinking, what else can I defend him about? I'm clutching at straws now to think
at this point I agree. I don't know, like, other than, okay, he's the most senior figure out there tonight, and I get that, but you know, for Serbia on Tuesday, I just think he has to be dropped. I think you can't play him against Serbia.
Yeah, I mean,
because they'll tear us to shreds. I mean, the midfield for the Georgians there made him look like a schoolboy, you know. But they've got Dusan Tadic, the Serbians have got Dusan Tadic and Nemanja Matic. That rhymes. They're gonna fucking destroy him.
Yeah, I mean,
like, they're gonna walk all over him.
Yeah, he ended up in his ass twice tonight. You know, he look, the heat could have had something to do with it as well. I thought this would have been the ideal game for Whelan.
Yeah.
You know, to sit very, very deep. There was no structure to his game. I think Arthur can play that one man holding role. I think, you know, I mean, a diamond should have been played tonight, first of all. But I don't think O'Neill's going to set up the same way against Serbia. It's very similar to the way we set up against Austria, and I'm almost thinking this is an experienced coach. You know, highly respected manager, and surely you learn from the mistakes and learn from from what is not happening for you. Houlihan, people say he's 35, yada yada yada. He's probably fitter than some of the younger guys and probably in better shape.
And because he's so clever with the ball, he doesn't need to be as fit.
Yes, exactly. But you've shown some of the younger lads who are injured more than him. Yeah. I think age, for professional athletes at the moment isn't as big a deal. And O'Neill seems to be making a point out of this. Yeah. And as for Whelan, it seems the more he gets and as I said, this is probably the first time I've really given Whelan a bashing, but
publicly.
But it seems the more Whelan gets criticised, the more he wants to take him under his wing and play him. I don't know, I can't get inside the guy's head, but it's just unusual,
We'll be back with player ratings after this, but I think the final word just should be that we are still in this. We're being quite negative, but that's just the nature of what we saw. It's pretty raw,
but it'll get better.
We are still in this. There's still a great chance, and if we win on Tuesday, this point looks like a good point. So we'll be back to player ratings later on. We'll be starting with probably a lot of 3s and 4s, but we shall wait and see.
We'll try and stay positive.
We'll try. Say, Jesus, James McLean, 11. He was brilliant. See you in a bit.